Hi everyone, hope you guys are all doing well. Just want to do a video here continuing on a series that I've already done two videos on. What we're going to do in this video here is just look at Gresham's law and just apply it to coin roll hunting, but also in this video I don't usually throw around phrases like death of the dollar and things like that, but really I think what this video is going to show is just how much in value the Canadian dollar, because these are Canadian dimes here, but it can be the US dollar as well, but just how much the dollar has decreased in value over the years. Before I do that though, I just want to thank everybody for all of your great and supportive comments on our first Coincast episode. If you guys want to check that out, I'll put a link in the description. My brother and I were doing a podcast-like series these days. In the first episode, we talked about why Canadians have gotten themselves into record debt. We also talked about our coin roll hunting endgame, just in terms of not melting the coins down and hopefully taking advantage of a market that arises. And then lastly, we also talked about whether or not silver was a good asset for retirement. But I'll put a link in the description for that video. Let's get right into our video here. And just as by way of a refresher, I'll just remind you that Gresham's law is the economic law or principle that bad money drives out good. And that's what I've been saying in the two previous videos. That's still a good definition. However, I was reading a book written by Murray Rothbard. It's entitled What Has Government Done to Our Money? And he states Gresham's law in a really good way, so I just want to read what he says. He says that the law really states, and that's Gresham's law, that money overvalued artificially by government will drive out of circulation artificially undervalued money. So again, we're going to apply that law in this video here. Again, when it says artificially undervalued money, again, that's the money where it was produced with silver, however now it's produced primarily with steel. But I'll just give you a rundown of these coins just so that we know what we're looking at. The furthermost left coin, the 1920 to 1967, those coins were made from 80% silver and 20% copper, and their mass was 2.33 grams. So again, that was the most valuable dime that was made in Canada, 80% silver. There was a brief couple years, you can see it, it's the second coin here, the 1967 to 1968 coins. Those decreased, still made of silver, however decreased the amount to 50% silver and 50% copper. And their mass stayed at 2.33 grams. So not a big change, but a bit of a decrease in the amount of silver there. Now, the next year following, or the next time frame following that we'll look at, the 1968 to 1999 coins, those ones were made of 99.9% nickel. And again, their mass was 2.07 grams. So you'll see it's a little bit different. We collect the 99.9% nickel nickels for the nickels, the Canadian nickels. However, we'll see why we don't collect these pure nickel bullion coins when it comes to dimes. And then finally, the most undervalued Canadian dimes here are the year 2000 to 2015. Again, those ones, not silver, not nickel, they went to a 92% steel and 5.5% copper with a 2.5% nickel plating. So again, a huge devaluation in the metals, but let's take a look at just how bad it's gotten. And we'll start with the decrease in the value from the 1920 to 1967 to 1967, 1968 coins. Again, those decreased in a metal content perspective 37.5%. So again, if you remember, those ones decreased from 80% silver right down to 50% silver. So not a huge decrease. However, look what happens when we go from a silver dime to a 99.9% nickel dime. It decreases 95.78%. So a huge decrease, and that doesn't take into account from the 80% silver coins. That's just the 1967-68 to the decrease from 68 to 99. So again, 95.78%. And then finally, when we go from our 99.9% nickel dime to the steel dime, we have a further decrease of 91.6%. So again, you might be wondering, well, that's the decrease from each of the time frames. What's the decrease in value in metal content from the 80% silver coin to the 92% steel coin? And it's a whopping 99.78%. So just a huge decrease in value there. Again, we hear it a lot in the silver stacking community and also in some of the economic forums that I go to, mostly Austrian economics, that the dollar has decreased 90% in today's value. And you can even just see here, looking at these Canadian dimes, the metal content alone has decreased 99.78%. So a huge decrease in value from the 1920, and 1967 80% silver coins up to our modern steel dimes. So again, how does this apply to coin roll hunting? So this just shows the devaluation of the dollar, but again, let's look at how you can take advantage through coin roll hunting of the decrease in the decrease of the value of these dimes. So we'll get rid of these numbers here, and what we're going to do is just look at how much above or below the dime's metal content is from their 10-cent face value. Let's start with the year 2000 to 2015. Again, our 92% steel dimes. Those steel dimes are 97.9% below the 10-cent face value. Again, it kind of makes sense given the fact that they're 92% steel. Pretty worthless when it comes to how much metals are. And again, with steel, the number that I looked at, it's only 28 cents per pound. You can see that there's really not a lot of value there, and it really doesn't make sense at the end of the day to coin roll hunt for these steel dimes. Let's take a look at the 1968 to 1999 dime. Again, if you'll remember, these are 99.9% nickel dimes, and again, their mass is 2.07 grams. Now even these ones, even though they're not steel and they are nickel, it's still 75% under their 10-cent face value. So again, just like the steel coins, to my brother and I, it really doesn't make sense to coin roll hunt for these 99.9% nickel dimes. However, as you would imagine, I suspect, when it comes to the silver coins, it does make sense to keep them for coin roll hunting purposes. Even at today's lower silver value, these 50% silver dimes are still 592.1% over their 10-cent face value. And again, that's because looking at their metal content with 50% silver and 50% copper, their metal content is worth 59 cents, a little bit higher than that. It's 59.21 cents, so almost 60 cents there. So again, when it comes to coin roll hunting, it would make sense to keep these coins, and if you ever come across a silver dime, I would suspect that you would already know to keep those coins. And lastly, looking at our 80% silver dime, the 1920 to 1967 Canadian dimes, these ones, at today's silver price, where we're hovering around $15, $16, they're 947.3% above their 10-cent face value. So of course, when we're looking at it just for coin roll hunting purposes, you wouldn't want to keep the 99.9% nickel dimes or the steel dimes. Of course, looking at these numbers, you want to keep the silver coins, just because they're so much greater than their 10-cent face value. And again, too, if you go back and look, again, there's not a lot of opportunity to find Canadian dimes, although I shouldn't dismiss it completely. There's a lot of Canadian YouTube channels out there. Lone Axiom comes to mind. He's just crushed on Canadian dimes. So again, there's still a possibility to get them if you coin roll hunt through dimes. Not as much as the Canadian nickels or the Canadian pennies as it once were before they were terminated. But if you go back and look at the Canadian nickel version of this Gresham's Law series, and also the Canadian penny, you'll see that the same principles apply there. And again, at the end of the day, for my brother and I, it really did and still does justify coin roll hunting for us. But coin roll hunting aside too, just looking at those first set of numbers, 99.78% devaluation from the 80% silver coin to the modern day steel dime. Again, it really just tells you where we are with our monetary policy. And again, too, I don't like to throw around, not for any particular reason, but we just don't usually say death of the dollar or that type of stuff. But you can really see just from, I guess it would be about the last 50 years, there really has been just a huge decrease in the value of the actual physical currency itself, which again is right in line with the theoretical numbers that always gets thrown out of devaluation around 90% of the dollar. So I hope you guys found this video interesting. If you could let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Always really appreciate that, and more than happy to hear your thoughts and opinions. Also too, if you could like the video or subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, we greatly appreciate that as well. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, stay tuned for the second episode of Coincast. My brother and I are hoping to get that video out tomorrow, which is Monday, June 29th. And right now we have a really good silver topic that we plan on discussing. So I think that you guys will enjoy that video too. But hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll cut it off here. We are getting long. I really appreciate you guys sitting through. Hope you guys have a great end to your weekend here, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.